Okay, it's flat. Okay. All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. If everyone would stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, you'll notice on your agenda, we were gonna have an update from Paul Former with San Miguel Power, but he was unable to make it because of the slides. Yeah, oh, I need to do roll call. Zip. Jason, how about you start us off with roll call tonight?
Jason Richardson,
Penny Berry,
Tim Pierce,
Paul Brown,
Carla Joseph,
Brad Miller.
Amy Tucker.
we do have a forum. Got ahead of myself, sorry about that, guys. All right, so we'll move on to public comment. And the first person on the list is Jody Gardner with the West End Family Legal Center.
I can't remember if we decided we were doing public comment or like a thing, so I did it.
I did have it on the agenda.
So hopefully I'll get it in time. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Jody Gardner, and I am the Executive Director at the West End Family Link Center. I'm here to share why this organization is so critical to our community and why we are asking for your urgent support. At West End Family Link Center, people are at the center of everything we do. We have served the West End of Montrose County since 1993, and our food pantry is a lifeline for families, seniors, veterans, and children across more than 2,000 square miles, including Nucla, Natarita, Paradox, Bedrock, Red Bell, and Norwood. We are a valuable hunger relief partner of the Food Bank of the Rockies, which is part of the Feeding America network. And because of our location, we play a critical role in making sure our neighbors can access food close to home. This is one of the most isolated regions in Colorado and is considered the largest food desert in the state. It can take 90 minutes to 2 hours in any direction to access many essential services. There are only 2 small grocery stores across the entire region. If someone in our area didn't have access to our pantry where they can get food at no cost, they would have to drive up to 55 minutes to the nearest hunger relief partner, which is only open on Sundays for 3 hours. As grocery prices, gas, and energy prices remain high, food pantries like ours are continuing to show up for our communities. 1 in 7 people in Montrose County experience food insecurity. For children, that number is even more alarming, 1 in 4. The link is currently serving 45% of the people in our service area, while 89% of the residents financially qualify for our services. In the past year alone, we served 1,685 unique individuals through more than 5,800 pantry visits and provided more than 15,700 total services. We're doing everything we can to keep up with the need, but the reality is we can't do this work alone. Food insecurity is at a level we haven't seen in more than a decade, and at the same time, we're seeing federal support programs and other nutritional resources decline. Grant funding, which has been a really important part of sustaining this work, has also decreased significantly. Less than 5% of our budget comes from government funding. However, we truly rely on their funds to help us meet this growing need. I'm incredibly proud of our small but dedicated team. West End Family Link Center operates on an average budget of just $23,000 a month. We have 1 full-time employee, 5 part-time employees, and we rely heavily on our incredible volunteers to operate our Nucla pantry 4 days a week and our Paradox pantry 1 day a week. Our team members make a 4-hour round trip to Grand Junction to pick up rescued groceries from the Food Bank of the Rockies every week, but we still have to purchase the food for our pantry shelves. We spend an average of $1,250 every week on pantry staples and proteins alone. The food we get does not order or deliver itself. It doesn't unload trucks, rotate inventory, sort itself, fill program boxes, or maintain our facility. Labor is one of our biggest costs. Many of these tasks are unable to be provided by our volunteers due to mandated program trainings and product weight limits. Today, we are asking for critical funding support to help keep our pantry operating and ensure our neighbors continue to have access to nutritious foods. This is more than a food pantry. West End Family Link Center is a critical part of our community safety net. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Glenn.
I'm interested on the data. Can we get a copy of all that? Yeah.
It was with our, the Bank of the Rockies, where we record all of our client visits, we can run all kinds of different reports.
Okay.
So if I knew specifically, I mean, I can give you this, but if there was something.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great. Yeah. No, I'd love to
Absolutely.
dive into that more.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's not on our agenda, but when we get to that part, if any of the trustees would like to add to the agenda, we can for further discussion.
Absolutely.
Josh Benjel. Name and address, please.
Josh Pendrell, 330 West Seventh Avenue, Nucla. I'm speaking to the board tonight regarding we're looking into the possibility of construction for a sidewalk section on the south side of 490 Main. So that would be from the corner of Main Street there, heading west out toward the post office. We've been looking into it for a little while, and we wanted to just kind of plant the seed, bring it before the board and see what you folks thought, any input, concerns. Couple reasons. First and foremost, would be just from our observations, pedestrian safety. A lot of folks walk. I mean, it's probably the busiest intersection in town. There might be, up to 20 people going to and from the post office every day. And oftentimes folks park right there next to the, what was formerly the loading dock, which will be the patio for the Hermit Cafe. And they'll park right up on the wall, and pedestrians will have to walk around, and people come whipping around the corner. So there is a concern there, and it's something that I've observed. And if people don't park right up on the wall, then there's kind of a gravel strip there, rough gravel. It's a bit of a tripping hazard. So really, I think in a nutshell, it would improve pedestrian traffic through that area. So, and just in looking at it, I think it was roughly 40 feet from the corner of like where it's the sidewalk is finished, the most recent construction there, out to the end of the retaining wall. And then it's not gravel, it's pavement from there. Also, when it rains like today, the water comes around and kind of encroaches right within that walkway. So it makes walking through there really difficult. So I'm not like a lot of people are out walking in the rain, but sometimes they do. I was out there yesterday walking in the grass. So yeah, really it's and there has been quite a bit of increased traffic recently, and a lot of folks park in there. And like I say, I've observed quite a few, interactions like stated. So, and from what I understand, that used to be a no parking area.
Yes.
So, I mean, there is that. I think that sign has been removed, and I think we actually discovered it recently. In and around some stuff where it had been removed and then kind of set off behind the building or whatnot by the construction crews. And we found some other stuff and gave it back to construction crew. And I believe we may have the sign. It's probably your sign. Is that correct?
I don't know if it was there or somewhere else, but we
Okay.
have a sign.
You have a sign, and it's behind the building, and it's probably
There was
Your
a no
property.
parking sign there,
okay.
and then it was gone, and then it's been back, and my guess is maybe during the sidewalk construction.
Right.
It could have already been down, it could have been removed during that process.
Okay.
It probably is ours.
So, and it's in the state of disrepair and faded and whatnot, so we have the metal. So, in doing some research, there is some potential code issues with the space, and I won't go into great detail about that part, but there is some stuff that in research that we found that could be potential issues, so, and that's town related, so. And really to me, you know, just in summary, driving up there, and I know, we're gonna be making some improvements in that area, most definitely, and keeping that nice and neat, as we continue construction and time allows. But I think aesthetically, it will look, really nice if there was a sidewalk there. It would be nice and finished, easy to maintain. So, I guess what I'm asking is the possibility of that being, you know, is there a possibility? Yeah, and then, you know, how could we move forward on that? We do have Cody Carver working on the patio, pouring the pad there. And I just briefly mentioned it to him as an idea and told him that, you know, I needed to come before you folks and mention it. He said, "Oh, you pour it tomorrow." So,
You've been asking for forgiveness rather than.
no, we're not gonna do that. And yeah, so I know on that end, there's a possibility, but I wanted to bring it before you folks and kind of see what you thought. You know, about the possibility of either going in on it with us, considering it's a high traffic area, the busiest place in town, basically, there's some risks there. And then that may take care of the parking issue.
I think you'd have to make that on parking if you need sidewalk.
Yes,
Street down too much.
and also from our, you know, being a small business there and getting ready to open another small business. We have parking available on the west side of 490. And you know, when we're open, obviously, there's a kind of a parking issue over there. It would enable folks to park behind the building and then walk around with ease and with no risk. The patio where it sits now, say this is the patio, I'm not gonna move this too far. The town property line is right up against it, so I forget where I was going with that, but you know.
The setback requirement, then it's not big.
Well, yeah, and that kind of falls into the code issue. Oh, yeah, but as it stands now, say we do no parking, it's still you know, poses a risk to pedestrians. That's really the thing that stands out in my mind. Yeah, you know, even if people aren't parked there, walking through the gravel and the water and that kind of thing. It's something that I've observed, not, you know, too frequently, but it does happen.
So out of
Especially
curiosity,
the water.
did Cody throw a number at you just on?
He didn't, and like I said, I just mentioned a couple of possibilities, and you know, to me, I was thinking, oh, maybe some decomposed granite, but I think the slope is great enough that it may degrade and run off into the post office parking lot if, you know, with enough water. That's probably something we can speak to. It's a pretty you know, high grade, so concrete would probably be the best
All
option.
things considered, and ACA considerations and everything else. The Disabilities Act and whatnot, I think you're looking at concrete.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and that, you know, I think that yeah, and I think aesthetically it would look a lot better. And this is kind of a little sidebar, but I think it would be kind of nice if we could plant some plants there and kind of right along the sidewalk. I don't know if there's enough room for that, but maybe we plant a box or something, but it is town property, so. And maybe that would be something that we could maintain. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a runoff water situation that has since also been corrected where it cuts in, or it's in the works of the plan.
It kind of splits there now.
Well, it's not like
It's not,
it's not like the river that it was,
Mhm.
'cause it's, now it's all the way down to 7.
yeah,
And a lot of it is, there is quite a bit of, like
Right.
yesterday, I was out there when it was raining. There also is kind of a dirt gravel issue there, it kind of builds up right in front of the bulb out. Right before the drain, it's enough water to, even yesterday, that it, you know, it overcomes the drain essentially, and debris gets trapped in there. So I cleared that out but we get quite a bit of gravel and stuff. And then that kind of moves its way around and heads down Fifth Avenue. So there is still quite a bit of water, and it doesn't, say this is the retaining wall, this is Fifth, here's Main. The water kind of comes around, and quite a bit of it does go right down Main, but there is still a good volume of water that comes down, and then it kind of kicks back in and crosses the pathway. So if the sidewalk was brought to, the end of the retaining wall there, and then maybe a little asphalt patch, that would definitely help things. So that's all.
Thank you, Josh. That was a lot. It was a lot.
I didn't even read off my notes.
Okay. I think I called on everyone that was on there to speak, so, let me see here. All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda unless there's any items there that need to be held out for further discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Jason,
Yes.
Penny? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Darla?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carried. I think there's a few items that we need to probably add back to the agenda. One of them is, this is my fault because I forgot to ask Jessica a reminder that we need to ratify that email vote that we had. So I was just gonna put that under, new business there, I guess, ratify email vote. And the other thing too that it's not on here, but I thought maybe you guys might want to add it back, was the draft letter to Montrose County regarding the special use permit for Camp B.
Add that back, you're gonna make a couple changes or something?
Well, it never was approved by the board, so there was a draft, but, Tim added some comments to it, but do you guys want that added back for further discussion?
They're probably not gonna accept it now.
I don't see anything out of town.
Somebody said he was on vacation, so it might be okay to still say he's back.
He was back, he's back the 16th.
Let's just put it on there for a quick review and you guys can decide if you want.
They didn't accept it out.
Well, but we need the vote of the
Well, I'm
board to
just talking
approve
about
it.
if the board
Yeah,
discusses it.
so we'll add that on there. And then, I would also like to add West End Family Links question that they had, and also the Vengel's question for a little bit further discussion on the agenda. If the board agrees.
Well, it says West End Family Links on this agenda.
It is,
Right,
oh, it's right there by my big fat writing.
I was trying to kind of hint towards that, but.
It's right there, well, just say it out loud. Whatever, okay, well, let's add Josh and Miranda's question for some further discussion then, if you guys are okay with that. Sorry,
Yeah, so we had the email vote for the work sessions,
and
and that was because, we would rather talk about it in a meeting, right? I mean, that was a split vote, so, I'd like to get that on the agenda for,
It is on here,
okay.
it's under the mayor and trustee reports and announcement stuff right now, but doesn't have to be dealt with there, but it is on the agenda.
As able to vote on,
You
not
guys
just
can
a
vote on it if
discussion,
you want.
okay.
Yeah.
It's done.
Anything else to add, Tim?
I wanna add the discussion and the decision on using
That BMP money, the $5,000 to pay part of the legal fees. So
So is that underneath the water case stuff?
it could be.
Okay. Alright. Then let's leave it there, if that's okay with you. Anything else? Are we good? Okay. So the first item there is, an update or review or further discussion regarding the water case and paying the summit invoices.
I dropped those tables where I did the
calculations, I did them last week,
Oh,
so
okay.
excuse me for not.
For a second.
I think there's like a statement that shows everything that Summit has sent and our portion that we need to pay out of a percentage, and then a breakdown of what the water account specifically, not the all the other accounts, have paid in the legal fees to include a credit of that 5,000. And what we would have, and I don't remember that number.
Okay, so. Regarding the 5,000 credit,
Okay.
so our portion. And Natarita's portion of the Summit Engineering does not meet the criteria of
Okay.
the percentage, so it would have to come out of the actual legal fees.
Okay.
Would be, and of course, we have to pay it. And then they reimburse us, the state reimburses us, so the decision is to be, to me, is whether we want to pay that $5,000 and then apply for the reimbursement, so,
Okay.
from the state. And they will cover that, I got received word back from Erin Vanderdee, she talked to the state, Vanderzee. She talked to the state and they said, yes, it's fine, it coincides with what we were gonna use it for anyway, so. As far as being a water rights issue and establishing extra water rights, they define it, so. We can do that. I would recommend we do it so that we can take care of it, that. The sooner the better, the state grant expires in September, we can get an extension. So of 1 year on that grant, so if we don't act quickly now, then we need to get the extension. And maybe I'll just tell her to get the extension and that way we're covered no matter what.
So you're just looking for approval to go ahead and pay it and then do the reimbursement?
Because we'd have to pay 5,000 of those legal fees, right?
Right.
In a short period of time here, and then get the reimbursement, apply for the reimbursement.
What's the reimbursement time?
That's, Aaron was hinting that maybe you just wanna go ahead and do the extension,
Okay.
so because of that turnaround stuff, so.
So I would entertain a motion to approve paying that and then looking for the reimbursement, and then it sounds like we need to do an extension anyway.
I think it's probably wise to do the extensions because you're dealing with the government. And I'll speak to Natarita next week at their meeting. On their portion of it, they can, of course, they can decide whatever they want to do to spend their 5,000, but I certainly recommend it, but does this.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, and we pay it
Second.
with his
Yeah.
recommendation.
And just help me out here for a minute, remind me again the name of the source for the water for the.
Water protection plan.
That's right.
Best management practices for PMPs.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to pay the $5,000 Summit invoices, and go for the reimbursement for the source water.
Summit would be the.
It's not, oh, it's for the,
Summit's the-
that's right, the lawyers.
We want to make sure. it's
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
lawyer.
To the attorney. All right, and then go for reimbursement on that source water credit, that's $5,000.
After applying to the extension.
After applying.
That's that multifaceted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
ABC.
simple motion for the clerk to write down. I didn't, we didn't.
PMP.
All right, Penny,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Darla,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
I vote yes, motion
What
carries.
about Jason?
Yeah,
Oh,
what about
Jason.
Jason?
I forgot when I start here, and then the circle is Jason. Okay.
Even tried to stand out over there.
Sorry. It was,
She thought you were talking
it
bullshit.
was not on purpose, no, I did not. Okay, next is, for the West End Family Link, and my question to Jessica was going to be if you'd had any time to research, possible sources for this funding to come out of our budget.
No.
That answer.
Well, I mean, I have like, off the top of my head, possibilities. It just, it's really like digging that in deeper. Sorry. We're elbows deep in shorts right now, so.
We got an amount we're thinking of.
I don't, this is the first yeah.
We did get the Montrose County funds, you know, the
Mhm.
30.
What,
50, would they end up with
And
30 or 50?
I think it was 50, we invoiced them, I should remember. I usually remember when we get money.
And
Yeah.
then, what did we tell them that we were allocating that all for? I know we have it broke down, and so that's what we need to see too.
Okay. I can go look at the budget notes. It's
Well-
on here. I think we have it allocated for. Typical, well, we spent some on hotel.
So community nonprofits is
Mhm.
part of it, and then there's usually part of it allocated for, bigger matches for capital projects, so that's why. I
That would
was
be the
just wondering
remainder,
where we
probably
were at.
about
Yeah.
30.
And have we expended everything in that line item for the last Montrose County grant cycle?
Not this last one. No.
Jody, can you give us an idea of what your ask might be? Or what would be helpful to you?
I have a $60,000 shortfall.
Ouch.
That's what I was gonna say, I'm like negative 26 right there.
So before I was the director, they lost a $76,000 annual grant.
Right.
That was for the family resources, and
Mhm.
so we've done quite a bit of cutting expenditures, like just in-house. I do 4 employee jobs now that used to be there. And then just like the overall expenses, we have cut quite a bit, so. I'm not at that full amount, I'm down to about 45,000 right now, so honestly, anything is beneficial to keep us where we're at.
I kind of think I'd like to hear a recommendation after you go through what we have left in this budget versus, what we're looking for on the other.
Fair, I would do that too.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
so we're gonna need to do some research,
Absolutely.
and then we'll come back with what we can do.
And if there's more questions, like.
Yeah, I'd love to have your data.
Statistics or anything like that, like if you have specifics, and I'll share what we already have, but yeah.
If you don't mind just sending it out to Jessica, she can disperse it to the board, that'd be great. Does the board have any other questions for Jody or for Jessica before we move past this? We'll do some searching.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, I need a motion to approve or to ratify the email vote that was taken regarding the work sessions. Sorry, had a little brain thing
Yeah.
there, that's what's happening today. Yeah, we were need to ratify the vote, please.
I'll make a motion to ratify the vote regarding that work session. Starting with emails. Needs to do and.
I'll say it.
Wanted to know.
We have a motion and a second to ratify the email vote regarding the work sessions. Tim,
Yes.
Darla,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. I have a note over here now, so I don't miss anything. I got this now. All right, and then I don't think that, under new business would still be further discussion about the Benjel's proposal for the sidewalk down at their place at Fourth and Main. And I'm spitballing something that I have not run across my brain cells very much, and all of them will like reel me in right quick whenever I say this, so. I think there's huge benefit into continuing the sidewalks, even on the side streets, especially around these major intersections and stuff. And my concern is splitting the cost or whatever thing the town can do. I think that we should look to see what we can do there. But if we do that at your intersection there, then I think we need to be. I mean, maybe there's a straight amount that we can allot to anyone who's doing that improvement. So that it's fair to all of the other businesses that may wanna do that extension around the corners. Or, and maybe that is, sharing the cost, or maybe it's a flat amount, but I just wanna throw that out there for the board's consideration and see what you think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, well, yeah. I like that idea, but there are other sidewalk sections too, yeah, that need to be like right above me too at the Vessel House,
Yeah,
with the kids
whatever.
walking down that.
the same
That
thing.
gives me heart- that gives me
Whatever we
So,
do in
yeah.
this particular question, we need to
Right.
think about how that relates to all the other ones and not
Yeah,
discourage that, but just be fair to everybody.
right.
Yeah, so.
That's been in the same predicament, I think. I remember as a child being that way, you know, gravelly and rough and, you know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
scary. And now that the new sidewalks, it really stands out a little bit more as how bad it is.
they'll
you know?
never be up
We
to
didn't
code
have gravel.
abbreviation.
Just add dust.
Yeah,
We get like at least some kind of cost estimate.
yeah, I think it'd be good to know what the cost would be, just like what you presented tonight, from where the new bulb out is. To what you're talking back to where you reach the asphalt, that would be a good kind of rule of thumb. Because if you think about any intersection of any of those, if they went back that far and then tapered off to whatever it was, or that was the first. Section of sidewalk, and then maybe later on we did another extension, especially for the school one over here, it'd be good to know, and then I think we could better figure out what the town's finances look like in helping with those projects.
The current measurement where the curb, or where the sidewalk and the curb terminate,
Yeah,
is 5 feet,
yeah,
and the code says 4,
yeah,
so you might consider.
and
skinny it
I
a bit
think
more.
that could be, is it just, if it, that was the CDOT thing, but so when we go on to the municipal roadways. I think we could start with hooking up to the 5 foot and probably have it narrowed down to the 4, does that sound?
I think you gotta look at wheelchair and
ADA
access,
stuff.
especially if you're gonna talk about maybe putting planters offices or something on.
Mhm.
And does ADA require like you know, like a higher curb to stop a chair from, you know, because of the slope?
slope would have to be,
I don't think they put any curbs on this giant
No.
slope going all
Oh,
the way
it's
down.
true.
And we don't have one where we charge. We did the new building, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jason can speak to this, but I think we had to report right out here because there was a great issue with CDOT.
You just
This,
can't,
the driveway right next to the town hall, and was there one other spot?
can't be more than 2% cross slope is what you can have,
Cross, that's my one.
but your up and down can be up to 5%.
Because it goes.
So they can go fast, you just don't want them wheeling off the curb.
That's a cross.
Cross slopes is like
Slope
this,
out.
yeah.
Like with the slope starts
okay,
there,
okay.
Towards the gutter.
tip over factor,
Gotcha.
yeah. So is that something that we want to like look into a little bit more, and maybe like Tim said, maybe get some numbers that we know what we'd be looking at there, and. I'm gonna get corrected on this, and I should because I don't know this, but since it doesn't have to meet CDOT requirements as Main Street did.
It's town required.
Town requirements. Wouldn't that make the price be a little less possibly?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at Jason. Well, just because I know that we had to meet a lot of standards with it being a CDOT project, so,
Oh, they got special concrete.
yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say right down to the like higher up concrete or house mix.
Yeah. Okay, so. Can we have you get a number so that we kind of know, and you can talk with Josh and Miranda a little bit there, and I do think. If the board agrees that transition, if it meets codes and standards, could transition from 5 to 4.
Yeah, cause another thing, wouldn't be great for them to have their nice patio. Someone I've seen it be our dad that did it first, is this truck right up there.
Oh, I know, I think
that.
the no parking
Yeah.
sign probably needs to be put up sooner than
Yeah.
later, so.
I was gonna suggest that if it's always been in no parking and the sign's just been randomly taken down. But
Hit,
if the
match,
pole is
take
still
down.
there, we can quickly put a sign back up for now,
I think it used to be on the side of the,
considering we have.
Yeah.
one of the innings, wasn't it?
There was a post there,
Oh, was there?
yeah.
one of the things with the, because it's, heading west on that side, the pole, it depends on which way you face it, so people parking there might just like, oh,
I absolutely don't remember seeing the sign.
Yeah,
since we
I
got the
know.
building. I'm trying
I
to
think it's
remember
been
where.
gone for a while.
I know on the loading dock itself, it was either painted, maybe faded on that side, it's really. But it is on the west side, you can see it says no parking.
It probably needs to have a no parking sign that has the town of Nucla's logo or name on it, so that. Especially if you end up putting it on the side of the old loading dock or anything like that, because otherwise they're just gonna think it's a property owner's no parking sign.
Yeah,
But, whatever we do there, I mean, we could do something temporary, but I do think that it matters how it looks aesthetically, especially with what Josh and Miranda are trying to do down there, that it's not. I mean, people are gonna be sitting on their patio, don't need to have a sign right in their view of the lone cone or something crazy like that, so I think we need to be thoughtful about how that's placed over there.
Well, I don't know how it is there also, but I remember when I had the food trailer and folks would pull up. If they weren't coming to see me, they were going next door, they leave their vehicles running. And running and running and running, no. I have not. If you were to pizza, you let it run however long you wanted to. No, they weren't, they just disappeared. As a matter of fact, that was when the grocery store was still open and they parked right there. Left it running and went down shopping at the grocery store, and I'm like, I kept looking out. And so went to looking around the grocery store too, because I went in your place first. Not there. They were ordering a sandwich at the grocery store. I just reached in and turned their truck off. And then he was like. Just died. It would be bad, that's.
Especially
No
Yeah.
idling,
Yeah.
off, no idling, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Especially in front of
is everybody in agreement? We can at least do some more research on this and see.
We just have to come up with an exact linear footage of sidewalk that we wanna put in.
Mhm.
I think that you have skills in that.
Skills that you can-
We don't have any public works employees
Well, I guess
just yet,
not.
so guess what, Jason?
No.
No, well,
Yeah.
we,
Get a contract.
Yes, we'll go there.
we'll get it right.
Since you mentioned foreseeing having to do that in the future, if you actually do develop a program for that, maybe there'd be some grant funding, you know, from the state or then available, especially if you formalize it.
A text message from Scott Barnes, since he's not here tonight, he mentioned drainage, if you put added sidewalk as to where that water would go around the corner.
Yeah.
And if it missed that drain that's there right now, it might cause an issue, you know.
But I have to look at all that over there, I think, yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm gonna move this forward. Let's see here, so, we have a bunch of policy stuff, from last time, and regarding the social media one, which is first. I think, I have to open this up again, sorry guys. First of all, I guess I'm gonna ask if everybody's had a chance to look at some of these or not. I think that they are much more in alignment now than they were before. There was still some things that were not aligning all these policies together. But I just wanna say one thing about the policies that we're running into. When I looked back at these, and Jessica and I met and talked about this too, we started drafting some of these policies and analyzing some of them in February. And what I'm finding out as I'm looking at these is this technology and the social media policy, and these are kind of the hinge pin in some of the other policies being finalized and developed, because all of the policies need to interlock and cross-reference with one another, so it's holding up the ability to move forward with any of the governance framework. Jessica's done quite a bit of analysis, and I've done some as well on the staff handbooks and those things. But until this policy is where you guys want it to be, there's really not too much use in going through all these other ones, because they all have to streamline together. So I guess, just kind of wondering what you guys thought.
Also to add to that, with the general liability and the work comp policies and stuff, the renewal of the insurance. Anything to deal with email and technology and data, those sections in insurance have exponentially grown. And they're asking more and more in detail, what are you doing? What are you requiring of your employees? What are you requiring of your staff? What are you signing and and it's, Source is great, by the way, they really are great. But, I'm telling them, we're working on policies, and I did not promise them that they were gonna have it tomorrow. I can forward those to you once they're approved, but these are some pretty technical questions of what are we doing to cover our data? What are we doing to cover ourselves? and breaches, all the way to backing up. They wanna know who our third party person is that comes in and sets our backups and checks them for spyware, ransomware. And then we want to get started on the AI.
Right, so reading through the technology security policy, there's not anything in there that jumped out to me that, or the social media policy, but, you know, they're so big on cybersecurity right now. And, everybody has to have a cybersecurity plan, and that's where it's going down, and it's really not, far off from most cybersecurity plans I've seen and read, so.
Yeah, I've worked through it a lot and just made sure that we're not super off base, you know, because. I know we're all government, but I don't think we want to be too big government, you know, and so it's. I don't know, like, the questions on insurance are just crazy.
One of the other things that's added in there, and I think we had a draft on this, but I'm not sure it was in that same folder, was the data retention and disposal policy, which Jessica sent over to me, and I actually dropped it into a file in there. If you guys want to see it too, it says current on it, but they're basically using the Colorado municipal records retention schedule, which is awesome. But we as a board, as a town, don't seem to have a policy that points to that's the board, what we're using. And so, through crunching all this data back and forth and trying to look for alignment, this is a recommendation to add this data retention and disposal policy as part of this policy group. And so, I had a draft in there that was really super basic, but when Jessica shared what she had, we added a lot more depth to it and also pointed to the fact that the town is here, and if you guys adopt this, that you would also hereby being adopting the Colorado Municipal Records Retention Schedule. So whatever version of that is the most current is what we would be referring to in this policy as well.
And the retention schedule, it can get pretty complicated. There are some things that we keep forever.
And there is a tiny little schedule that's on here. It's very, you know, abbreviated, an appendix that says, you know, those things that you keep for permanent.
And there's a form that you have to certify if you're going to destroy documents, shredding, trashing, what burning, you know, when we get to the point of taking anything that can be disposed of. We take it to the burn pit and we make sure, you know, gets burned, but you have to certify what it is that you're doing. Because obviously it's illegal to get rid of documents you're not supposed to. Let's talk about Karen Brockovich, but
yeah, and that form we didn't develop to put in there yet, but yes, that is part of it that needs to be part of the packages. That recording document you just explained, so. The only thing that I still have questions on is the AUP, which is the acceptable use policy. There's things on there that definitely need someone to take a look at that knows more than I do about it. And Darla, this may be in your bailiwick, I don't know. It's referring to international access and
I saw a lot of your,
those highlighted parts there, I'm just like going,
yeah.
yeah. I guess my question is if they need to be in there or if they don't need to be in there, I'm just not sure.
what's the ADP again?
It was the accessible or acceptable use policy for data and IT resources. And we started this draft, like I said, at the end of February, and it's had several revisions to it. And most of them have to do with trying to just make sure all of these documents are speaking the same language and aligned. And we keep finding things that we're missing. Yeah.
Yeah, the international access, I don't know, but of course, we're always susceptible to that with phishing scams and things like that, so that's kind of scary, so.
I
So I
also
would say,
took a bunch of the boilerplate language out of that document because that's the one I talked about before that the girls were able to get their hands on. It was kind of like, sign here, this is the policy you need. And I mean, it was for a big municipality, a big city. So we just took a lot of that language out. So hopefully it's a little easier to read and understand too.
I definitely don't think, from what those read, that it's, a negative thing to have those listed like you have.
Yeah.
They might not, may not come about, but at least it's covered.
Okay.
Might have to be unplanned. So he said.
Just in case the Nigerian prince needs
Uh-huh.
the money, that we don't get many money in grant.
I got a phishing email like 3 days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
So our Google Workspace admin account that, you know, is set up, it's pretty good about picking those out and quarantining. You know, separating them out. Yeah, thank you.
We knew what you
It's
meant.
pretty good about that, you know, and if it's really malicious or feared that it's really malicious, it sends an email or a report.
Nice.
So it's pretty good about keeping us all.
But on the number 10 also, what's in parentheses there, it says reference Governor's Office of Information Technology Acceptance Use Policy adopted. You can just leave all those in there too.
I would leave all that in there,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so what's everybody's thoughts on next steps with these policies? And if you see any other, you know, edits, changes, what do you guys want to do with this one?
So my opinion is, looking at the social media and the technology policy, I don't see that they're far from what we also have, so I think I would make a motion that when you do that.
I think so, but I'm also wondering if we shouldn't prepare a resolution for adopting this suite of policies that are all.
Have it all.
Yeah,
in
so if
one
you
resolution.
guys, well, if you guys like what's there now, I think that we could we could draft a resolution that would adopt this suite of policies for social media technology, security, AUP. Yeah, all 5 of them, or we can do it independently if you want to, that's up to you all, so.
I think all together works.
So,
Try to keep all the technology stuff in one
yeah,
space.
and the data retention and the
Yeah.
disposal and all that. So if you guys agree on that, then we would get a resolution drafted for the next meeting to approve them if you guys are ready to do that.
Does the insurance company need a resolution or do they just need to know that we have the policy?
They were just asking what's in our policy, and I said that we're working on policies, and so I told them that as we're working on these policies, I can send them for them to kind of like look at, so we can verify that we're in
Yeah.
alignment with what they're
I
asking.
want details.
Yeah.
We can also send the policies to Sursa instead of our attorney, and that would do.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
So it doesn't technically have to be a resolution right now. Like,
No.
so here's my thoughts. If we go ahead and get these approved and get these in our books.
Mhm.
So that our insurance company is happy. And we can move forward on our insurance and answering those, you know, truthfully and completely. So there's other things for me that we can talk about in a work session with the board roles and strategies and goals and ethics, the handbook for the board, the governance thing. Those things we can talk about later, but in order to get our insurance
Yeah, I think
satisfied, I think we.
I
can
think
move
this one
forward.
has to come first, because even the governance framework that I put out there for you guys to look at. It needs to have alignment with these policies, and we can't run it through that lens until we know that this is our policy. Because once we adopt the technology, social media, all those policies, we'll run all the governance frameworks through that lens of alignment again, to make sure that it's referencing back to what you guys have adopted. And then at some point, we'll go back to what Jessica started with, the staff handbook, and do that same alignment with the policies that you're looking at tonight, so. So yes, adopting the technology, social media, the AUP, those are the ones that really stand out tonight.
I just wanna make sure that we can change those or edit those if we have our
Oh,
work
yeah.
sessions or discussions and then we decide or find some research that.
We
need to
wanna
go in
update
that,
them.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I just don't wanna lock ourselves into.
I mean,
something that we
to
can't
me,
change.
that's kind of what we're doing right now, is we're starting at a baseline of things that we don't have. But we're finding we need.
Mhm.
And then as we work through some of these other things, if we see that there needs to still be adjustments, changes, then we'll come back before the board to add those revisions, so. Yeah. Sounds good. So I don't, I'm questioning myself if we have to have a resolution or if you guys can approve those. I really don't. know.
They're policies, so
Mhm.
they're not law.
No. And a resolution basically is just saying that we're adopting these and we're gonna follow these policies, so.
So we did adopt. In 2022, we did a resolution for the handbook, and we did a resolution for the code of ethics for the board.
Yeah, so we probably should do a resolution, yeah,
That's right.
yeah, and then we'll just draft a resolution. And we won't make any more changes to these as they sit right now. And we'll take the highlighted sections off of that one that I had questions on. It sounds like you guys are pretty much thinking it's good data to leave in there, so I'm just gonna put them as resolved. And then we'll have a resolution for the next meeting on that. And we'll see, can we go back?
Then they're awfully quiet tonight.
Okay, so the lodging tax one, or the lodging tax advisory committee and that group of documents, the only thing that we talked about last time was under the LTAC guidelines, the lodging tax committee guidelines. And I have a couple places highlighted in there because I need to get the ordinance that was adopted, the proper number, and add into that. And then I defined some of the language in there from what we talked about last time, like that there's a 2-year term for those committee members, and let's see, I added something else up here. You may not like this wording because I'm not great at this, but this is I added to it that the town board objective is to seek fair and unbiased committee, and the board may waive the committee member requirements, although they must keep the elected official / chair requirement. I was trying to open a window there that if you can't meet every single requirement of that committee, that the board's gonna have some discretion here to say, yeah, this business person's really interested, they wanna sit on this, we're gonna, put them on it. So I don't know if the wording is fabulous, but that's what I did since we last talked. And I think these are the last two things that have to be added to that is the proper resolution number. And then if you guys want changes to the wording. Or if you have changes in general on that, so. Lodging tax. Mhm. Has everybody had a chance to look through all those documents? At some point? Mhm. Anything that gives you a pause or needs correction?
Nothing jumped out to me.
No. So again, probably that one probably needs to have a resolution for this policy suite and all the little, things that go along with it. I don't know if it does or not. It's not really a policy, is it? It's kind of like guidelines. That's what it's titled. Guidelines. Maybe we'll ask about that one, because I have to get on the next one, that has to have a resolution also, because I don't know on that one. Yeah. If not, we'll just put it into a package deal, we'll get the ordinance on there, and then if you guys have any last minute adjustments to it, we can do that. And then the last thing there was what I asked you guys to just have a quick look over last time was the governance framework. And these were the updates of aligning our, well, first of all, it was separating the board's rules and procedures manual and also the code of ethics, because it's all been blended into one. So the recommendation was to separate those two things, align them, and also align them with state statute, because there was some errors in that was pointing certain things to committees and commissions to oversee town policy or, town board conduct, that they didn't have the authority to, to have that oversight over the town of Nucla. So it now is just a real rough draft, in my opinion, because we haven't aligned it with the other policy we talked about earlier, but it's a little bit more cohesive than what we started with. Any thoughts from you guys on this?
I started looking at it online. I'm gonna have to print it and actually just,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I would like to have more time to
Oh,
look at it.
yeah.
For
And
sure.
this one here is, this whole thing here needs to have, like I said, that oversight with the technology and the records retention, all of that stuff needs to, it needs to be viewed through the, or run through the filter and see what it catches and all that, so.
I do have one question.
Of course.
Under section 2, prohibited interests in contracts,
Which exhibit are you looking at?
appendix A, Colorado statutory reference guide.
Okay, so let me see if I get to the right one. Oh, I'm with
What
you.
is it?
Section 2.1, the general rule. Is there any way we can make that less vague? To me, it just seems very. It's so open-ended that there could be an argument that. You know, like Tim can't take part in something because he's also part of the water board, or he works for Mustang Water, or
Mhm.
where Amy, since she owns a grocery store. That an argument could be made that anything that brings activity to Nucla.
Mhm. So you just think it needs to have further clarification, expand on
Yeah.
it some, yeah?
Yeah, it just seems like.
I'm gonna look at yours.
With us being so small, it's really restrictive because we only have so many citizens. and-
Yeah,
And so many
Yeah.
people wear so many, or one person wears so many hats.
yeah, it just seems it's. Like I say, it's just vague enough that an argument could be made that.
Yeah.
The entire board can't vote on it. Or,
We all have a conflict of interest.
yeah, we all have a conflict of interest in some capacity. I don't know if there's any way we can
Well,
tighten it up.
I'm gonna have to say that for me, I'm gonna have to go and look at that state statute in its entirety and see if this has been abbreviated. Or not, you know, so I think we need to just take a look at that and see if this is an abbreviation of that and just a reference to that, or if this is the whole statute as it sits, because. If that's the case, we can't change the statute, but we could probably change. The wording in the policy in our part of it, to change that a bit potentially. Yeah, I'm gonna write it down and then.
So you're saying you wanna look to see if you just took a portion of that 2.1 general rule and just kind of.
Well, you know, I used AI to generate most of this stuff, and so when we created the appendix, we wanted just a quick reference. For the statutes that it was referring to through all the other documents, and so I didn't go on to the state statute and see if this is. In its entirety or if it's
Okay, I see
been
what you're saying.
abbreviated, I do not know that without looking and researching that, so. My feeling is it's probably pretty close, but I don't know that without looking, so. So give an example of where you would like to see that look. Can you give an example of how you would like to see this? Just to help me out a little bit too.
I can email you something
Yeah.
tomorrow after I've mulled it over.
Yeah,
Over the next couple weeks after I've mulled it over.
yeah.
Um,
Let's see what, yeah, put something together, what you think that you'd like to see it read, and then we're gonna. Take another look at the entirety of the state statute, and then we'll see how that
yeah,
needs.
I'll look at the state statute as well,
That'd
just
be perfect, yeah.
you
And
know,
in the meantime, I'm gonna mark down the 2.2. Is that we wanna do some work on that in the appendix, so. And then all of these will run through the lens of the other policies, the technology stuff too, so that we see what it picks up on that. All right, perfect. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody looking at it. Okay, so the next one on here is the West End Vision Plan, and there's a link to some more data crunching that I've been up to. So we had, as I mentioned tonight at our training, the previous boards had worked on some very basic goals and objectives, and for my own, like, knowledge, I wanted to see how what we had drafted and come up with aligned with the vision project. And so you'll see on there an analysis of maybe, where I just was asking for it to look at those things, what the alignments were between the documents. And then, of course, immediate actions, where we're missing it, and you'll see that on some of the documents that we haven't really addressed in our planning the housing situation. Let me find the right one here. There's also more information needs to be added into our goals to align with the West End Vision Project as far as our intergovernmental agreements. And of course, I can never open the one that I want when I want it. There we go. Maybe this is it. Anyway, it was just more of me doing some analysis to see where we were with what we had started and what was adopted with the West End Vision Plan, and, some of Amy's comments and conversations we had last time about, strategic goals for the town and different things. I just kind of wanted to take a look at where we were at in our alignment with all of that. And then I also took a minute to pull the specific sections out of the action plan for civic health and collaboration. This was from the vision plan also on things that it recommended the town work on over the course of, immediately 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, and long term. So I just thought it was a quick reference that we could have available so that we can kind of look at that on the things that we're working towards, so. Not really for any other reason than just data, and because I think that we're going to be continuing to work on goals and strategies, so. Anyway, any thoughts on that? Has anybody had a chance to even look at that information in that folder?
Yes, looks like a good segue into a work session.
But we're gonna talk about that here in a minute, so hold that thought. Any other thoughts so far?
Yeah, I don't wanna, the vision plan, that everybody worked on that for, a couple of years and everything, so. So I'm definitely in favor. I just wanna make sure that we're taking that process slow. And making sure that, nothing, I'm sure that's what they did, is make sure that it definitely aligned with what we were already doing, but I just wanna make sure that we don't overextend ourselves money-wise by integrating the vision plan too quickly. I kind of struggled with having a contractor come here and work on our land use codes because of the vision plan, when I think that those are things that we can work on as a board. Moving forward, I just don't want to be rushed into changing things because of the vision plan. I think we need to take our time on integrating that vision plan into what we're doing. So I just want to make sure that I think we can work on land use codes. We don't need to pay Gabe a bunch of money to do that. I think integrating them into the code would be good, but I just want to make sure that we're taking our time on each of those things. So that's something I think we need to just take our time on integrating that plan.
Okay. Let's see. So the next item there is the testing and trying to set up a joint work session again with the school district. So I asked Jess about that. We don't have a date yet, and she said that was gone for a while here.
Yeah, he's out until, first part of December, August.
Wow.
Yeah, I think December, so we're all. And I really would like to coordinate that when he is available, because his position's somewhere, and then, it goes to him, so we can make sure I thought that there were 2 RFPs that were received back. Turns out that there was a long email of questions from one of them wanting answered, and I had sent over our Nucla's approved procurement agreement stuff for them to read it. I haven't heard back from them yet, so that gives us a little time to like reach back out. And that was my bad. And so dates, they have a work session on the 5th of August is what I think I typed, and then school's back in the 12th. So it's bam, bam.
So school starts at 12.
And Jessica and I are gonna get with Drew
Yeah.
and so she's there, listening to the questions, and that way she's keeping me in check, and, she'll know what conversations Drew and I had, so we'll.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna start that email in the morning and we'll figure out a time to get on the phone with Drew.
Yep.
And hammer it out from there.
Okay. All right, I don't think that there's any updates on the land use code right now. I mean, I believe we're waiting to hear back.
So are we trying to avoid the start of the school year with the MFS?
No, well, I don't think so. I think,
Difference it would make, actually, I think it might be better when the school is in session.
I think I was just trying to like be courteous of the kids going back to school and the teachers having to pull out their hair. Or just, I don't know,
Well,
maybe.
the testing can always be
getting it
done when the kids are
resolved,
resolved, school, if that's a problem.
Yeah, the testing can be done.
If it's disruptive, so, yeah.
And I think that just keeping the ball rolling is kind of more my.
Yeah.
You know,
They're gonna do a baseline test.
we've got some pretty busy weeks
And
coming
so
up,
we'll
so.
have time, I think.
When does it come out?
In 2027, no specific date, but not. I'm under the impression it's not the very beginning of
Those
2027.
like what
That's
they
for-
want to do it is what.
Right now, and as soon as I hear anything, I'm pretty old.
So they said 2027, but that.
I don't think it's January 1st.
So,
So January 2nd.
yeah.
I'll look back.
In the middle of winter, they'll be up there, but then.
You receiving payments, rent payments each month on it yet, or not?
I believe so, due to the option in the contract, but I'll double check. I think I did see in a record one. I need to look specifically, because.
She left it in there.
Yeah. Okay, but I'll, let me write that down, so this is.
Okay, you ready to move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Black Hills franchise lease, is still basically tabled until September.
Does it have to be, or you?
Yeah, can we get rid of that? somehow?
Yeah, if you guys
The
can,
agenda?
I mean, I don't think anything's changed on it, and I mean, it's,
So,
if you really wanna read through it, but.
Yeah.
yeah, reading through that, there's again, pretty common franchise. It did state that when that was signed, it was, 0.025. Was there any talk about increasing that and, what they would pay for that? Let me find it. Sorry.
I don't know of any conversation, I think it's just rolled over year after year, like most of them.
Do we have any comparable with other municipalities or?
Yeah, it's pretty common to be between 0.02 and 0.05 is about average
Okay.
of what I've seen.
And this one is currently what, Darla? Did you? you just said-
0.025.
Okay. So have you been, I mean, have you had any, contact with anyone at Black Hills regarding this, Jess?
He called when he sent it over in March and said that he's sending it early so that everybody would have ample time to review. His attorney had already reviewed it, and then he called at the end of May and just wanted to make sure that. They had any questions, and I told him it's been tabled.
Okay. So do you guys wanna look at an increase on that so that we can actually, if it needs to be done in September, then we probably should, if we're gonna throw something different back at them, we should do that.
We could look for an example of a model of how other, if other municipalities
Yeah, I mean,
with,
yeah,
when it comes to natural gas.
yeah.
Why don't we look at that then, and that way if we do have a counter to change that, we can get it to them. Hopefully sooner than later. Does that sound good?
And then, let me find. Yeah, I was. Each 5-year anniversary, the town can review. Request review for the dollar, so, yeah, I think if it's been at 0.025 since 2006, when this one was signed. I think we need to
It's
just
time
ask
to
for
ask
the,
for-
Yes, yeah. I think that's fair.
Woohoo, for generating revenue.
Do you want
There you
to?
go.
I was gonna get a sign out for Martha. That's all.
All right, the last, are we done there? I'm sorry, do you have anything else? I didn't wanna.
no,
Okay, all right. The only other thing that I had you guys add on there was the Montrose County, special use permit for Camp B, the draft letter. And so it's not on the agenda here, but let me see if I can find the link and all. Let's see. Yeah. Try to put it back in front of you here, since you all are.
so actually, sorry, I do,
Go ahead.
I'm a little slow.
So,
I just thought of a question, is there, you're just gonna go and look to see kind of what you're gonna,
Reach out.
okay, to see what other municipalities are getting for their franchise?
And if they're doing an increase over time, like if it's an incremental
Okay,
over a span of so many years. And where they're at versus our 2006 rate.
okay, all right, perfect. Thank you,
You're welcome.
I lost my thought when I was writing the note, so.
I was trying to think of like, in similar population, maybe like. Olathe, Dove Creek. The back, or small. You know, I think that,
It's service, it'll be helpful if they were serviced by a Black Hill, but
all
that's not
that
necessarily
detail.
true.
Detail.
Because I think that direction might be Excel Energy, like toward
Mhm.
the back.
Yeah. No, you're right.
okay, I'm sorry, I'm struggling here because I can't like copy and paste very fast for some reason. All right, there's the draft of the letter that was sent out, and you should be able to see, the edits that Tim recommended on there,
Okay.
I hope. Did it work?
Is it on
you
our
guys?
drive or there?
I didn't step over, I actually, well, it's in that email, but I just copied and pasted it to the agenda, so you guys could have a link right there with it. I'm just gonna,
That's awesome.
and then there's Tim's comments, I just wanna make sure that they showed up when I changed that over, so. There we go. So I guess the first question before we tear into this too far is that if you guys still would like to send this, even though it's late, and just, hope that they take a look at it. Cause I guess if we don't all agree that we wanna send it, then there's no reason to edit the letter.
I'm in favor of sending us though.
You should send it.
On that comment,
Thoughts?
I don't think we should have a chime in if we choose.
Well, I think we should just be careful on our wording. I don't wanna be, strictly prohibited, like, we don't need to put strictly, we just need. Facts on what the difference is in their permit and what is in the Montrose County workforce housing. I just wanna tighten up those comment letters so that we're not overly using adjectives that we don't need. I think we need to stick with the data and facts and not throw in, too much opinion. It's not the word I'm looking for. Our local water infrastructure remains a vital, limited resource, and protecting the integrity of this joint supply is paramount to the long-term sustainability of our communities. I mean, I think we can. I don't know that we need all of this information. I think we just need to stick with what the differences is, and that's our concern, and. Um. You know, is incomplete, lacking. I mean, I think we just need to tighten up the wording. And if they get the water from somewhere else or from somebody else,
Who's the
I don't know.
somebody else? Who's the somebody else? No.
I don't know, so we're just gonna just. Lock up the water if they wanna buy some water, if we have a whole bunch of water,
That's not really worded.
I mean,
Quite.
are we just gonna-
Doesn't want to sell them water, so I'm quite not getting them either. It's just. Be honest.
If they're in a situation where they've exhausted their source water and they have to haul water from the towns of Netherine and Nucla, our source water is going to be under stress as well. That's the way I see it. So prohibiting them from hauling water and utilizing resources from the towns of Netherine and Nucla. I think that puts a stress on our community and our citizens.
I don't wanna strap ourselves to a precedent that we don't wanna pay for later. If the critical access hospital comes in, we're gonna wanna prohibit that, we don't, you know. I just wanna be very careful on what we prohibit now, because I don't wanna prohibit anything in the future. If we need to, is where I'm at.
The critical access
Well,
hospital
anything
would,
mining, I mean,
well, any of those things,
Yeah.
that would support and help the economy where we live. This is gonna help in a totally different way on a much smaller scale, don't you think?
I was thinking it'd be a case
Yeah.
by case thing, like not to prohibit.
Yeah.
It depend on the structure, everything that they were doing. As far as you want to prohibit.
Pretty much universally
Anything.
accepted model now, because that's what towns, municipalities and water districts do. They discriminate on who they sell water to. It's the most limiting factor in development these days. Is who gets water.
It's a tough commodity.
It is. It is.
it is, but we do have enough water to supply. What, 2,000 or 3,000 more people in our community? I mean, we have those water rights to do that. So I just don't wanna limit ourselves and set a precedence that.
I don't think I don't think you're setting precedent. I think you're being discriminatory on what you use your resource for. And I think that's fully in line with what your capabilities are as a government entity and as a community, so.
When just like this year where, when the ditch got really low before the rain came. So the next course of action, if it didn't rain, was for Mustang Water to ask for more shares from the town of Nucla because we can't pump from the river because it's too low. So that in turn takes away all raw water for the most part, depending on how many shares that Mustang Water calls for. And then our citizens suffer from a commodity that they should be able to use.
Well, paying for it.
And they're paying for it, absolutely. So I just think that there's a balance there and every year is different. And if what this is saying is if it can't be, the water resources down there get to the point that they have exhausted their source for water. That we don't want that piggybacked onto the citizens. In these communities to fill the gap.
It wouldn't, yeah, can we put something like that in there then? As long as, if we're in a stage 1 restriction, then. Then no, you can't buy any more water from us. I mean,
Yeah,
that would
and
be like a
word it-
parameter.
Worded in such a way like due to current drought conditions. We'd be unable to,
We're just
Maybe
trying to.
depending on, the river level too, I mean.
So part of that wording
Like
there
the
is
logic.
straight out of Natarita's letter, and we're just trying to show some. Unity, I think, between both of the communities here, and we do have the same source for domestic water production. So. We can change how the wording is if it's too strong or whatever, but I do think. I mean, I understand why you made the changes to it myself,
I
so,
I didn't change anything.
Where's Natarita's
There is
letter?
on that.
let me see if I can find it for you.
Thank you.
That's straight out in that letter, and I don't really, and quite frankly, I was a little affronted by the fact that she put Mustang Water in there, because she didn't talk to me about it at all, but. regardless. I don't necessarily disagree, so what can I say?
Yeah, let's see here if I can find it.
I, quite frankly, I am adamant that controlling a resource that you have a limited amount of is well within your purview, and it's something you should use. It's like any other resource.
But if we don't have if we have an overabundance of water and we're fine, then we should be fine. But I mean, if we're low, then that's one thing. I just,
Does it make sense to say that if Can't Be runs out of their source water, that the rest of us are probably low, you know, our water situation, you know, might be low as well.
I guess the hydrologic outlook maybe of the year, maybe a year by year hydrologic outlook. You know, this year, yeah, we don't wanna, you know, we didn't wanna throw any water in anybody, I wanna keep all of ours, but I mean, if we have an overabundance of water. I mean, we could sell them some water.
Contingent resolution thing that we just adopted, wouldn't that kind of already kick in as this is the precedence, this is what I'm just.
If we adopt a resolution and then it doesn't protect things like that, what's the point in adopting the resolution? Does that make sense? Does it step in and,
I have no problem just saying you can't use it.
that's fair, that's fair. I was just asking like if it,
I'm pumping mud into the reservoir right now, and I'm not happy about it,
yummy.
because I am concerned that later in the year, there ain't gonna be enough water, so.
And I guess my question is also just in the future of anything, like not just necessarily this subject, and we've adopted.
You do have upcoming development, if, per se, you have a hospital, if you have the Millville in Fair Oaks Valley, they've got their own water supply, but they want backups. And those are all direct economic benefits to this area, then why wouldn't you conserve your resources to date to help and assist direct economic benefit
Okay, okay,
versus somebody that's, most of their stuff,
suitcase town.
they didn't even put economic benefit in the West End into their application, it's all Telluride sites, so they didn't even consider us regional.
Well, and they've had some change with the board up there too, and I think maybe those conversations can be opened back up again for.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't have anything, as they've said.
Amy,
Their problem with Merrimack, they're not the developer and they don't have anything to do with it, so they have no obligation to us, that's their problem.
Yours.
I know, but it's also a. Yeah, we can.
Yes, what's his name, like Mountain Village Town Manager, I think, had a little editorial, letter to the editor in the forum about doing an MOU. So, yes, but then again. There's leverage in negotiations, there's no point in not using leverage you have.
I guess the only comment I have on that is, I've still been hearing lots of things about them coming into the area. And one of the things that I've heard that is a concern is that, and I've heard this multiple times since we talked about it, but they are saying that no employees or contractors are gonna be pretty much buying anything from us. They're bringing in their own, they're hauling everything in. The employees have fridges, freezers, then they have, so they're trucking in all their food, all that kind of stuff, and I keep hearing that over and over.
Right down to fuel.
And fuel, you know, if they're not gonna help our economy and give anything to us, then why do we wanna give them water? I guess is my only thought. Like, yeah, hey, you're here, you're built, you know, you guys are spending thousands of dollars at the grocery store, thank you very much. You know, then let them buy water, but if they're not gonna shop local, they're trucking everything in, and I really have a issue with that.
Yeah, I don't have any feel for that, because that was one of my comments for the county. My comment was, well, what's going to be, what is Merrimack's, what's the workforce facilities? Policy's gonna be for employees after hours and whatnot. In other words, are they gonna be turned loose into the local area, and are they gonna shop, and are they gonna do things? So. There wasn't, they mentioned none of that in their application, which they don't have to, but at least they could respond to some kind of comment like that if they were gonna say, oh yeah, they'll be. You know, they'll be out there shopping, they're gonna be whatever, they're not gonna be restricted, and we're not gonna supply
It'd be
everything.
nice to have it, see it in writing,
Yeah, I
because I mean,
have some
I've
trust
heard more
issues with
and
that,
more
too.
and more from
Yeah.
more and more people. From things that are said to, outside workers, you know, field techs, different things that. I mean, a lot of people in our community are saying that, they're saying, we're not gonna shop local.
See, I don't mind making somewhat provocative comments, because then they'll at least come back and say, no, you guys are full of BS, because we're gonna do all of this. This is.
And that would be great, I'd love
Yeah,
to see it in writing,
That's exactly.
love to see it in writing, yes, we plan on. You know, we will provide lunches for our employees, but after 5 p.m. or whatever, they're on their own, so then, yeah, okay, great, they will help. They will spend money in our.
It's like most
community.
workforce facilities, they'll provide the meals, period. Question is what they do for where they get the groceries. I mean, most of the camps and when I was in Wyoming, now we're switching to Cisco. They had been doing local shopping and they switched to Cisco because it was cheaper. So they could improve their
Well,
bottom
that
line.
would be what they would do here.
In all likelihood,
And then they wouldn't help our towns.
you gotta remember, part of the special use permit process is. And I had David White tell me this right in my face, you guys should be setting conditions. Part of this special use permit process is for them to satisfy demands by the local community for them to actually have this facility in your community. So if you don't set any conditions, then no asks, you don't get nothing. And so far, we really haven't had any asks. So.
no.
They do ask, they can say, well, how much are you willing to pay for said water? Like, I mean, I just. I don't wanna shoot ourselves in the foot.
Well, Eric,
Sarah's wording is our Greenwood's wording is different from our wording. We request that the application is approved, a condition be added. You know, ours does not say that, so I would like the wording to match that no matter read it.
I don't want to say that because this hasn't even gone through the entire process, so why would we be telling the county that they can approve this without our approval? Because part of this process is for the local areas to have public comment and a public hearing. And you can't say, oh, you guys, you can approve this, we just want you to do this. Well, we don't necessarily want them to approve it unless they're going to meet some of our requests and demands to do that. And that's the county's own process. That's actually some of the statements they were made. It's just like David White said to me personally, he said, this was when he was acting county manager and they were talking to Merrimack, he was going, yes, they came in and they were supposed to, they know that they're probably gonna have conditions to meet. Because that's what they were telling the county. Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing good things for that area. Those statements were made to the county. So, and part of the county's whole thing on the special use permit process is that they are actually supposed to do something for the area if you have conditions that you want to set for them. Now, that doesn't mean they necessarily have to meet specific conditions that you set, but then it becomes a process of negotiation. So until you do that, then you're just giving them a blank check to do what they want. And the county's not gonna approve this unless it goes completely through the process, which includes public hearings and everything else where people have comment, the ability to comment, and the local area can set conditions as they wish, and then it goes from there. It goes to basically a negotiating process on what conditions they can meet or won't meet. And then the county will decide whether they'll approve it, because the county can deny it if they so desire, based on what comes out of the whole process. I just don't want to tell the county that we really don't care. You know, you guys can approve whatever you want. We're happy with whatever you do to us.
Well, I'd like to just match it with Natarita then. I think ours is pretty long and lengthy. I think if we're gonna do that and be in solidarity with Natarita, it needs to match what the wording says here. And on another note, with that public comment, I guess if the board members are gonna individually comment to Talmadge, that should come from their personal emails, not a town email. Your comments came from the town email
It
address.
did,
And I want
because Talmadge personally sent me information on it, so I just replied to his email.
You mentioned they would have to meet certain conditions. Could we request that they would only get water, like the ability to purchase water, if they don't bring over?
They've already written into their application that they don't anticipate using any water out of Nucla area. They have alternate wells that they have arranged for
Yeah,
to get water
just,
from. So as far as I'm concerned, they aren't worried about it.
I say we match with Natarita and
I think the part that I meant that we were matching with them was just the portion there that said that they wouldn't supply water, domestic water drawn from the towns. That was kind of the part that was in the same. Or the verbiage matched is all we meant, so.
yeah, their concerns are pretty condensed.
You have
Which
to
I-
think about this a little bit too. There's not, I mean, the town of Natarita has been negotiating community benefit agreement with them, you know. And their situation is a little different than ours. And I go back to this, is even though, you know, Natarita supplies water to Mustang Water for treatment and everything, there are certain conditions that we've already fallen under last year and was heading that way this year before the rain came, where the town of Nucla is providing all the water into the reservoir, because once the river gets so low, their only source currently is to pump. And they can't pump when it's muddy like this. So I feel like the strong words are fine, because I don't think it should always fall on the backs of Nucla citizens. Especially when we're in a drought situation, that we're supplying the domestic water for both municipalities and whomever else in this case. And that's a real concern that I have. I mean, I know we're working on some other options so that Natarita would have a different delivery of their source water to the pond, but we don't have that secured yet, correct?
No,
No. So that's how it is. That's the conditions that we're in right now. So. I just think if you ask people in our community, and we have 4 of them here today, we can always ask them too, but our water is pretty precious to all of us that live in Nucla, you know, as you well know.
I do well know, I will do,
And
I
I
will
think
fight to the death to protect it.
And I
mean,
think-
that's why I'm with the ditch company and.
that's why I think protecting or having an opinion that protects our citizens' interest in this particular request is our responsibility, you know? Just my 2 cents.
I think it's fair to, and maybe I'm completely off base here, but we learned tonight, you know, like when you submit an application and it checks off the boxes A through F, right? And that's a standard maybe administration application that can be approved, or it's just kind of all right. This is a special use permit application, so it's not checking all those boxes. So you can be a little bit more demanding on a case by case basis, so maybe it wouldn't set a precedence. I totally understand where you're coming from, you know, and so you can be a little harsh and being like, we're going for the big or going home, you know. Just one way to look at it, that's, you know, and so a special use versus a normal application running through, but yeah, treading lightly on precedence is important.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I'm not gonna call for a vote yet, but I would like each one of you to have some input here. As the letter sits now,
for us to get to a decision on this, and this is kind of where we get stuck when we're writing letters, is everybody has a different style or a different approach, but I guess I'd like to hear from each one of you where you're at with what we have drafted now. Are you good with what it is? If you have some recommended changes, let's hear what they are, and let's try to get to a consensus here and finish
Can we-
this,
Or
so.
can we make note of the changes or comments on that drafted letter so that we can review them as a whole, maybe, because it's
Well, we can add them on there, but
Mhm.
here's the thing, this was due when?
true.
It was already due.
Fair point.
Yes, I mean, we're already past the point
Fair
of they may just say, we're not gonna look at your letter because you didn't meet the required time. So I don't think it's,
Take out strictly and just say it's prohibited. It doesn't seem as strong, but it prohibits them from supplementing their water with ours.
okay,
That's my opinion. It's
Can
not
you
gonna
get-
benefit us anything, this camp down there.
right,
It may, but there's no guarantees, and quite frankly, if the community wants to get together between now and by the public hearing or after the public hearing, when it's still open to comment and request some conditions, then I certainly think it's worthwhile to do so if there's a desire to do so. So I know Natarita already had asks that they got turned down on with regard to the Rimrocks, so I don't know why they can't make those same asks. As a condition of this permit.
Carla,
I agree with Jason.
Fred,
Yeah, I think we should take out strictly.
and Penny and Amy, you too? I'm good with it how it is right now.
I would feel more comfortable adding, editing and putting what Natarita put in that section. I mean, we can,
How,
I mean, that's.
how are you suggesting? Like,
So the applicant shall be strictly prohibited from supplementing its water supply with domestic water drawn from the town of Nucla, Natarita, or other system supplied via the Mustang Water Authority. And Natarita put, we requested that the application is approved, a condition be added that the applicant may not supplement its water supply with domestic water from the town of Natarita, town of Nucla, or any other user whose water is supplied from the Mustang Water Authority. I just.
If you put if the application is to be approved, basically you're signing on as a junior partner in the whole thing rather than the full part of the county. Because you're just saying that the county can approve this without any consideration for what you're given. As far as you're concerned, the county is the total controlling interest in this process, which is not the way the county even put it to us throughout this whole process of coming up with their special use permit, so.
But I mean, we can ask for it and say whatever we want, and the county can do whatever they want. They don't have to. Do anything.
They can, but they definitely want our input on this, I guarantee you.
I mean, we can take a vote. I mean, it's,
Amy,
and it's something that we can talk about later as far as when we're doing public comment and commenting on special use permits and things like that.
I see.
Yeah, we can see how this one goes and see if something comes up that we need to address later on, then I guess we'll do that. But go ahead and.
Okay, so I'm gonna take strictly out of here, okay, and then we'll see if the final draft. I'm not really sure why that's italicized either, so I'm
so
gonna
you
change that.
commented and said they wanna hear what we have to say, right? Isn't that what you just said? So they might not even look at it since we're late on it.
It's a possibility here.
When I send in my comments, even though it was under the town's, my town email, I commented to townmates that the town of Nucla was wanting to send in a letter. So that divorced me from the town of Nucla
Right.
in those comments and made them my personal comments.
And it also gave him a more, heads up, cause I knew, cause he was on vacation, had already come back, that he was gone till the 16th. It also let him know that we wanted the town itself, or like, send him a letter, like now to read it, so.
Do we know how many public comments were received?
I don't.
I don't, and there's nothing posted that I've seen.
Because we received a lot of phone calls when we put that on Facebook. The public comment period was open. A lot of clarification phone calls on where people should be sending their comments. So I was just curious.
I hope that the comments, even for or against, so.
Okay, I took the word strictly out of there as Jason had mentioned, and, so if you guys, I mean, the draft is what you just said that you wanted, but, you might want to take a quick look at it, make sure it's the way you want it to read. And then we need to have a motion to approve, and we'll have it sent out to them tomorrow, so. And hope that they read it. So basically all you did was remove strictly. I did remove strictly, and then there was a couple grammatical errors there that I just corrected those. Yeah. Or maybe with punctuation, right? Punctuation, yeah. Okay. Where's your little device? It's dead. It died.
And I'm not gonna crawl on my knees.
Why not? It's
Because I'm
so
not-
fun.
I don't crawl.
We got it plugged in right over here. Yeah.
That's what I was.
Jason, does that seem better? Or what you meant, and make sure that's what you expected, okay? All right. Did you check it over too? Okay. Right. Entertain a motion. I can't even see it. You read it. I can't even see it.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and send the letter to Camp B regarding the special use permit application for. Right.
It'll be to Montrose County.
Oh, the Montrose County Board of
Yeah.
Board of County Commissioners.
There you go. We knew what you meant.
I can read really.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to send this letter to Montrose County Board of Commissioners.
I copied it, but planning is on it,
We will,
the town.
yes. Regarding the Camp B special use permit application. I'll put it on my list too. Darla,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carried. Okay. Okay. And we are down to our community stakeholders reports, special districts, Mustang Water Authority. We did meet the other evening, and Jason, I let our administrative assistant know that you were gonna be the new alternate for the town of Nucla, so she can get you on the email correspondence.
Okay.
Third Monday of each month, 6 o'clock out of the water treatment plant.
Right.
Okay, so we'll get you there on the reminding list for that too. Let's see, did I bring notes from the meeting? We had a very quick meeting because there was no air conditioning at the meeting and it was blistering out there. Yeah, so, Tim gave a abbreviated report, but he didn't want to, he wanted to talk a lot. No. He's been taking care of a lot of repairs and stuff. If you guys have questions, you certainly should ask him about those.
I sent you a copy.
Okay,
Looks like it's been pretty busy.
yeah, he's always got a big report. And we also did send the MOA and the contract to the attorney. We hadn't heard anything. I followed up just because she didn't confirm by email. She'd been on vacation. She's looking it over. She's got some questions. Did she copy you on that email? Okay, so we've got a few things that we're gonna send to her and she's reviewing that. And hopefully we'll have something back for you guys all to see soon. I don't know. That's the plan anyway. Any questions regarding Mustang Water or anything like that? Do you have anything you wanna add?
Still losing a little ground in the reservoir, but it's not as bad.
better, yeah.
If it stays monsoony, maybe I'll ask the ditch company if we can get a little more percentage of those shares back. We'll see if the ditch company's gonna start giving people some portion of their shares back, so.
Well, Peggy should self-regulate. From what I told her,
Really?
really.
Okay.
I'm not staying out of that mess.
Yeah. I won't,
Not at all sad that I
I
missed the
won't touch
last
that
meeting.
subject either. then.
Yeah, I was pretty glad you missed the last one.
Next is the Nucla Area Chamber of Commerce. Miranda, do you have any updates you wanna do tonight? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but you are a board member and
Here.
you're here. You're here.
Well, we're continuing to work on the OEDA grant for marketing purposes for the West End. And I think there might be one more town meeting before our application is due, if not two. So our current step right now is we're identifying potential community partners, either for support or input for the grant. And during the application webinar that we attended, they strongly emphasized collaboration with community partners. So we have a list that we've put together. So we might be reaching out maybe at the next meeting, whether it's a letter of support or input on, what we have together.
Yeah.
And so part of that is revamping the West End Colorado website as kind of a general hub for the area. And then in parallel, some print marketing materials. So we'll have something more put
Define.
together. Yeah, but maybe better this time.
Thank you. And West End Dark Sky Alliance, did we ever pick somebody to serve on that? I
Decided not to.
We decided that
We're
we
not
needed
gonna-
to, yeah.
We're just gonna have Olivia give us updates from time to
Yeah.
time. Okay, gotcha. The housing committee, there was a housing meeting today that Jessica and I zoomed in for. I've added some stuff to the housing shared folder in you guys's, the board folder. There's been a lot of, communication and talk this last two meetings about forming a. Help me out, Jess.
Land trust.
Of West End Community Land Trust, and so they presented an executive summary of just kind of a concept. So I dropped that in there so that you guys would have a chance to look on it. They've also shared some other information, Community Builders has regarding community trusts in other areas. So I just put all that in there so that you guys could have a look at that. And as we get more information and it develops, we'll just keep funneling that to you guys. The other thing is Jessica and I had a meeting with Marissa from Community Builders regarding our fast track resolution thing that we did that was regarding the Prop 123. And so we're she's submitting that to the state, our resolution, and there was some conversations today just briefly about how those monies could be spent. There is a webinar coming up on August 11th that we're all planning to kind of learn more about it. But there is some conversations about maybe some collaboration between Nucla and Natarita with those funds to help with, well, there's just so many different options. So we have to kind of figure out how we can use the money that we can go after for that and how we can best utilize it. So there's no decisions being made on that yet. We're just gonna have to learn some more. Today, Shirley Diaz from the Department of Housing was on our call to give some, just some more updates and tried to help with the conversation regarding the land trust and those things.
And just. real
Remind
quick,
me,
yeah,
what am I
Just,
missing?
just to elaborate on like the working with the Natarita, because
Mhm.
we're gonna struggle to meet the requirements and the certain bullet points that are met individually as towns.
Mhm.
If we can find the means to individually meet them, go us, but that's really wishful thinking, so we just need to be on the
And that's
side of working together so that we don't get left out completely, both towns.
That's
My
the
understanding.
Prop 123 that we signed up for, and I think both towns had to have, I don't know how many different houses built, neither one of us met the criteria. So they've put together some lists for us. If we can do it jointly, we might still be
Mhm.
able to slip through. We have until the end of the year to say, yes, we did have these houses that met your criteria. But if we don't, then we sit out a year
Mhm.
from the possible funding for affordable housing, so, so there's a lot of little components going on here that we're trying to figure out if we can meet the goals.
I'm trying
or
to
not.
look and see if we can be tweak
Mhm.
this person put
Yeah.
in, some- yeah.
They have a list of people that hit the parameters of the affordable housing as far as the price point over those last few years, and, if we can prove that they bought those houses in that price point and that there was some sort of substantial improvements done to the house prior to them buying it, whether it could be a new roof, new siding, possibly new windows, things like that, that can help us qualify that that would meet the requirements for one of our houses that we were
Mhm.
supposed to build. So that's kind of where we are now, is seeing if we have the proof to stay in the program or if we'll get purged out for 1 year.
I'm
if we
getting a
don't.
crash course caught up,
Mhm.
and so I
Yeah,
think it's 3 houses, is that correct?
well, that's what Elaine was
Seems easy.
thinking today, but I'm not sure if that number was right. It seems like Nucla's was higher than Natarita's. Yeah,
Okay.
it was some ridiculous amount really for us to meet, so. But they've kind of softened the
Mhm.
criteria to knowing that a lot of these little small rural towns couldn't meet those requirements, and so. We're just kind of keeping our fingers crossed that we might be able to prove our case as to why we're not there, so. And we may have to do that jointly with Natarita because they're in the same place, so.
The housing study that we did in 2018 said we needed 23 new houses by 2023,
Yeah.
and we're a little behind.
We're a lot behind, yeah.
I think we've issued.
Affordable houses.
Renew.
Affordable houses, yeah.
We need, I mean, any house.
Yeah.
point, but
So we'll just
Yeah.
continue to drop information into that shared folder if it's something that you're, interested in. Every time I get something, I've just been kind of shuttling it in there for you guys, so. I didn't see a director's report for Reed C. Okay, all right. So we'll move on to our staff reports. And Miss Jessica, take it away.
I hired a public works one this week and he started. I'm so excited. Public Works one, entry level. He's working with Rod. We're starting with some walk changes, and Noel, he got thrown in on a water line break today because we had one. It was a pretty deep pit, and I was thankful we had a Public Works worker to help handle that. No, he's doing great. He really is. And
What's his
so
name?
his name is Scott. And his last name is Neil. What's up?
Is he on there?
Yes, he is Cindy and Monty Richardson's grandson. He's John Reed's nephew. So let's say good things about him, right? No, he really is great. He's worked with the cemetery this summer, and he's teachable. He shows up, he's honest, he works, and he was excited. So, yeah. I have a stack of, and they're in your drive. We can do this 2 ways. We can start interviewing director, superintendent, and then they hire the Public Works 1 or 2. Or I can look for Public Works 2, and then we can hire the director. I really don't care which route we go, but I need dates for interviews.
I think there's a possibility that you might be not, I mean, you may or you may not find the 2, that you might have a couple ones.
Yes, I might have a couple ones.
That's what I would like to do anyway.
Bring
Even
them
if I
up.
think you have a 2,
I would love
it's a
to,
1,
if-
and then see who shakes out.
I would love to just go ahead and hire another 1, even if there are 2. And Rod's here, and then we can work through the directorate. But I would like to move on some interviews. Some of these resumes are very nice.
I got them today.
And there's supposed to be more coming in, so there's that.
When's the deadline to?
We eliminated the deadline so that we weren't.
We didn't
We
have
didn't-
any, so we just
Mhm.
said that they were gonna be
Yeah,
open.
because that way we weren't
Because
just
we haven't got
hiring
any.
and then being like, oh,
Do you have a salary range in any of the advertising that we did?
not any longer.
Cause
I know it's gonna be the major
I'm
question.
sitting there looking at those resumes and going, that guy ain't gonna.
They're all gonna have.
So sometimes
That too, I'm like.
sometimes we have to remember, we work for the public service feeling and not the retirement millionaire feel.
Is that what Dana said?
There's actually one I saw that looked like he actually might be retired and he might be actually looking at coming here and he would be willing to work for less, but that's about all I could say.
I'm more concerned about the ones from Kentucky and they want to relocate here and I'm like, and housing and, I'm like, yeah, I know. I know.
You think what?
I think the locals that are here.
Oh,
have
did you-
roots here and wanna be
Mhm,
here,
mhm.
you know, be good.
Because
don't really
I'm not
have
saying
any-
no, I
else
totally get it.
I didn't see any that was, for, that she had in the, directors, the superintendent
There's-
one that were locals, that's.
There's a couple that I'm still hearing rumors that are coming in for local that we may know, but I haven't seen them yet.
Mhm.
One thing that we've been kind of like trying to reiterate is they do need to care for the area. Like, you know, it's public works
Mhm.
and it's not always the easiest job. It's not always the most, people aren't always grateful, you know,
Mhm.
especially just in a lot of situations. So we've been trying to reiterate that.
I think it'd be like, I don't know, I think it'd be in your best interest potentially to just call your ones that you've separated for the superintendent one and have a conversation, because I think that some of those may find out more about the job and just say, yeah, that's
Right.
not my bag.
Or they
You know
might
what
be
I'm
just
saying?
ticking the unemployment
Have
box.
you been to Nucla? Do you know? where-
No, legit, like when we were.
Well, I'm just wondering if
No,
they're just putting out
that's-
resumes
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
what I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking.
And
That's
it's
what I'm thinking.
From
They just-
Indeed and stuff, they're just,
Exactly.
yeah, and that's fair because we did have to ask, do you like books when we were interviewing librarians?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think,
Okay.
quite frankly, the salary. For a lot of the South.
Yeah.
The applications you put in there must be a US citizen, and then you still get like 3 or
Oh,
4
yeah,
that
yeah.
are not US
Mhm.
citizens. But you have that listed, that's one of your requirements.
Yeah.
is to- Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll touch base with each
I
of
know
them.
you're not supposed to.
I think it might shake out for you quicker than you think when you volunteer.
Fair, fair, fair.
That's illegal.
And then, so,
I don't care if they are older, as long as they moved here and stayed here.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think,
The Salary limits.
I think that it's illegal to base.
Yeah, you can't ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, we just don't ask those questions. So other than that, things are kind of taking shape from our rough start to summer. And we got all the raw water notices hung out, and which was kind of nice to go out and interact with the public and explain to them what was going on. We're looking at maybe a more updated way of doing that, like I'm gonna be talking to the phone company about like a more automated robocall. Because it was fireball hot outside that day, and we're driving around and we had to be out of the office. It was all 3 of us and it took us a day and a half, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
And, you know, we don't have the capacity to be out doing that. It was important.
Well,
And
quite frankly, if
Mhm.
that type of stuff comes up, like I said, you have agreements with Mustang
Yeah,
Water. and
we
that
do.
agreement. You can call me and say, hey, we need more bodies out there to do this. And I can find somebody besides me to do it.
I was gonna say, are you volunteering? But,
I feel bad for
no,
Bill,
you know,
you do that, I
it was-
really do.
it was
That's so
humbling.
mean.
It was humbling and, you know,
Mhm.
appreciate what people do. So with all that, and then, yep, in the middle of insurance renewals, and it's fun. Getting the equipment all cleaned up, changing the locks. Still cannot get an HVAC person back to the community center. So if anybody knows an HVAC person.
Did you call the other one?
Have you tried
I've-
Harry?
He
Yeah,
was the one that went first.
He was the one that went.
well, he was
And I
like the
actually
6th one that
talked
didn't
to-
come back. They don't come back. I don't know.
Well, and I talked to Shannon about that, cause I just wanted to know what the status was, and she said that he had done some research on some parts and this and that, but then just didn't get
It's-
back, so.
yeah.
Oh, that's.
I don't know,
It's unfortunate.
I don't know.
And he went through the
I
ceiling.
think he's
Yeah,
just
100%.
busy.
And
Went through the ceiling
He
in the
did that.
kitchen, so there's a hole in there.
And, yeah,
I
And
I
he
knew
is
what
going to
happened
fix
in
it, that-
there.
the
Stepped
scaffolding,
on the slats.
Mhm.
He decided.
it went through.
Oh,
And it's really humid in there right now, so we do need to get something going. So. I don't know.
What's you're talking significant issue? 'Cause
Yeah,
So.
I know the
Mhm.
clinic called Torrey
Kanikowski?
Kanikowski, and he fixed their air
It-
conditioner.
When they blended the old HVAC, no, that's separate. No, the old one and the fire suppression system and upgraded something. And then they did this thing. If you've ever been up there, it looks like
It
a
looks like
literal
it.
box of worms is exploding. It looks
Yeah.
like a fire hazard.
The
And so-
electrical panel up there, the control box
Mhm.
was
It's
just open
crazy.
and a zillion wires coming out of
Mhm.
it.
And so, and it shuts down on its own and you can't get the thermostat to run on auto, but the heat has to run on cool and it's
Oh.
just, I don't know, I don't
So
understand.
by the way, the control panel needs a battery. We couldn't
Okay.
do anything with it last night at our meeting down there, cause it's saying low bat,
And
low bat, low bat.
I had told
Mhm.
Harry's Heating at one point, an air or whatever, even price out like just to start over. Like, can we just even get a price to just start over on that whole mess? And he was kind of, you know, and I know he's busy, and so.
And you've tried to log the locals, so you're open for
Yeah,
suggestions.
this is literally probably our 6th HVAC that's come out, and
And I
it's
did give her
crazy.
a-
And then I've got
guy
that card and I
yeah,
will reach
yeah.
out to him.
Oh, cooling system and
That's the one.
pumps and motors.
Yeah. Well, you can't get him out here for one, but yeah, I'll call.
That's what we can't.
It's insanity. I don't understand it.
Well, it's the busy season for them. so
Uh-huh.
why would-
And,
Yeah.
Unless they charge you 2 arms and a leg. to do it.
Yeah.
we've had some issues at the park. We're gonna look at the lighting and see if we can do some illumination. Not all of it's bad. It's just got a lot of activity happening in it right now.
It's a bad person sleeping. there.
And we do have a person that's rumored to be staying in the park. And so we're trying to get. The hours are posted and you're not supposed to be there past 10 o'clock, you know, and
His bags were under the table.
yeah, we're probably gonna start. Locking the restrooms, but we've got to figure out if we want to replace those with coded locks instead of key locks, because somebody has to go there at night and lock them, and then somebody has to go there in the morning and unlock them during our posted hours in the summertime. So it just goes on and on and on and on.
They have Wi-Fi locks.
We don't have, yeah, you can remote in, but you have to have Wi-Fi at the park.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and then what else? Well, there's just so much. So, but we hired a public works one.
Public Works one.
I'm so excited. I'm like, we had one person.
Does the
Yes.
Public Works one guy wanna
Do you
spend the
wanna-
night
No.
down at the park and let that guy know he's got?
I don't know that we budgeted for that overtime. Or that duty, honestly. I think.
Park has been-
Don't, see, now as a manager, you've got to understand that you can schedule shifts.
That's right. Swing shift, midnight shift.
There you go.
I think that's a Montrose County Sheriff issue, actually.
Again,
I think, yeah,
Mhm.
make
So-
another phone call to Bruce
Yeah.
and say we need to talk.
Mhm.
yeah.
The library is doing, if nobody has stepped in to meet Sue, you should meet her in her space.
I
It's
met
great.
her
She's,
today.
yeah, and she's clearing out and she's got ideas and she's
It's very
big and
nice.
bold
And
and
I
it's,
stopped in
it's
this
so
week
refreshing.
and she has done all kinds
Mhm.
of stuff. It's looking really
yep,
nice.
and she's got plans for more. Programs. She'll be meeting with Clint White to get involved with school.
Nice.
A few different things there. It's really great.
We used to take field trips.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm drawing a board.
That's all right. If you
We're
think
not-
something else,
so
you can bring it
I
up.
have not received an element report. I just remembered. So I will reach out to Mike with element, find out what's going on. I will be gone it's on the calendar. I'll be gone the 30th and 31st. Is that a Wednesday and a Thursday? And then the following Monday and Tuesday. So like, looks like a long weekend, but it's
30,
It
30.
is.
And then the
Friday.
3rd and 4th or something,
3rd and 4th.
back on the 5th.
Oh, wait, you're gonna reach out to Mike? Elman?
Mhm.
He's
Right.
had pneumonia.
Oh, okay, I guess he's forgiven.
Yeah, he actually would have been trying to connect.
Okay.
That water transmission line, that
Okay.
DNA piece, he's been down with pneumonia.
Okay, then I'll leave him be.
Yes, that's a good one.
Okay, you guys have questions for Jessica?
Oh, and one more thing.
Oh,
If
she's
there's
got
anything specific that you would like to see from the library on the director's report, she'd like to kind of revamp it. She's kind of shooting from the dark here, and I said, just update it with everything.
She could do her.
And-
I was gonna say,
Mhm,
make it her.
that's what I told her.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to see anything in the future, then you'll ask for it. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. I'll leave you alone.
Do you want to have questions for Jessica? Okay.
All right, so we're about to wrap this up. So, the discussion regarding the work session topics. And, Amy sent over some.
I mean, it's
little
spreadsheet,
schedule.
old school,
Good,
spreadsheet,
I like spreadsheets.
old school.
Mhm.
I don't,
Spreadsheets are easy.
I just
Yeah.
figure out how to
Mm-hmm.
put it in Google Sheets. But I sent in an email, yes.
Mhm.
For me, you know, I work better with deadlines, you know. I don't like to, you know, kick things down and, you know, so I like to have a specific deadline for myself on when everything has to be done and ready to go. That. You know, I wanna learn all I can about the system, and and for me, this would help me, you know, and I'm sure it'd help the new people. Kind of discuss things that we needed to discuss and not in a board meeting. It would be an extra work session. You know, I love public comment. But I think these specific issues are something that we need to look at. You know, I wanna learn about the water infrastructure. I wanna know where the lines are. I wanna know where the breaks usually happen. You know, I'm sure until some field trips too. You know, same thing with code enforcement and law enforcement. You know, I'd like to have a work session where we can meet with Bruce, meet with the code enforcement officer, meet with Tom. And figure out what their struggles are and what they're seeing, on the ground. And so I put it into a schedule, so we're set up with a work session every month for the next 2 years. Just so like Bruce can plan on being here that day and that date. Same thing with Public Works, they can plan on being up there in October and January and we'll have our selves together with the information that we need in order to talk about
Would
that.
these be during work hours?
It's up to how.
I would
we're being-
recommend
Yeah.
that they be during work hours for public works, code enforcement.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody knows this, but Judge Losey's retired and he doesn't like to come off.
Lucy retired?
Well,
From his
he
regular
lives
job,
from
he's
his
the
regular
judge, he
job,
comes
yeah.
into town once a month
Yeah.
for us, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're welcome to come
Yeah,
to court.
no, and.
Where is court held? It's right
7 o'clock
here.
in the morning.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning on the first Wednesday of every month, if we have a docket. Mhm.
First Wednesday then.
And we have a docket this month on the 5th. We post the docket online on the website under municipal court. We will post it there so that it's publicly posted prior to court. And if there's no docket, it will say no docket. It's one person maybe, usually.
Well, that's not hard to explain, but I'm not gonna explain it, but that's fine.
So I'm gonna voice a concern, okay? I don't want us to cross the line of our chain of command. So these questions and issues that you have, I think this is the person we start with, and then we can invite other people into the conversations if it goes that direction. But what do you, I mean, I guess I'm just unclear what a conversation would look like. I'm gonna use the law enforcement one to have the judge and the code enforcement office and the Montrose SO there, you know, I mean, we do usually meet with the SO. It was every year, sometimes it's not been lately, when we're looking at our contract renewal, and usually Sheriff Willard will come over. And Bruce Course comes with him too, and we talk about, you know, our contract for law enforcement services and any particular questions and changes, their concerns. I guess I just, if you can kind of explain to me more what you think that conversation looks like.
I think more of a learning thing for me, what the code says, what's happening on the ground, what he's seen as far as compliance goes. And if there's things that we need to change or help support that, then that's
that all comes through our town manager.
Would you like to come in tomorrow and we can go run down these and maybe get a plan together? Would that help?
Well, I want us all to learn together, so I would wanna know. How can we go into this without stepping on your toes? And how can we learn without stepping on your toes, and I don't wanna micromanage, that's not what I
Right.
wanna learn.
Right, so
So why don't you set up a work session where Jessica gives an in-depth report on everything that's going on in the town, so that she has time to prepare, because she is the point of contact for the board. And therefore, then you can ask pointed questions and she can respond, and then if there's more further explanation or information that you want, then that can either be provided, or you guys can set up something that you do want to come out and look through
I
all the
want Jessica
maps.
to be the middleman. I want her to be able to ask the same, listen to the questions and listen to different concerns also. It's not micromanaging, it's a learning thing for me. What is he seeing? So he can give Jessica a report and then Jessica can report back to us, but of course, there's things that are lost in translation, or if there's questions that I have on this particular issue. I guess.
Those go through Jessica.
I know, but I don't want Jessica to be the middleman. I wanna hear from Bruce, I wanna hear from Jean.
That is her job.
That's my job, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that I can
I know, but I don't
facilitate
want
it.
you to have to keep
Right,
coming back
right.
and going and finding
So
the
that's-
answer to him and then.
No,
come
no,
back
no,
to me.
that's why I was saying, like, let's look at these and let's make a plan, like, okay, if we need a work session, or if it's something that we can just discuss because I feel confident to discuss it, you know what I mean? Maybe not Bruce's job, like that's, that's a whole different realm, but I mean, Public Works, they're still learning. Well,
But we don't-
Rod's
yeah.
back right now and he still is learning about lines constantly. There's no cut and dry. We make as-built as we find them. Breaks don't happen in the same places all over. There's certain sections of projects that we are working towards fixing that we could review like 100%, but a lot of that isn't just cookie cutter. It just isn't.
Well,
and-
They don't need to be, maybe they don't need to be at the work session,
Mhm.
but I think it's something that we need to talk about.
Mhm.
The codes, the law enforcement.
And so like code and law enforcement, yes, absolutely, especially
need
while
that.
especially while we're updating some things. And part of the goals, part of it would be needing to look at the goals too, because David's gonna need some direction here very soon, because I've got him to the point where we've got animal tags under control, we've done all the starter up stuff, and so there's other things that maybe we need to enforce and look at, or 100%.
Well, then maybe they don't need to attend.
Okay.
Maybe the public works doesn't need to attend,
Mhm.
but maybe it's something that we need to discuss as a board in work sessions. So maybe ignore the attendees on those work session requests.
I'm happy to help like put together like a plan so that then we can communicate that to everybody and
Here's
get
the way I
them.
look at it. He can't answer those questions, she can't answer those questions, we don't need her.
Ouch.
Seriously, she's the.
That's fair.
manager, so
And
she's the point of contact for this board, and if she can't be held accountable and answer the questions you have on how things work, then. Why do we?
So I
have
guess we
that?
need work sessions to discuss the codes and the law enforcement.
I think that's what- yeah.
And don't bring in
Mhm.
the employees.
Just
Maybe it
have
just
that.
needs to be you and then you can relay
Yeah.
whatever it is that we.
And we can make a
kind of
concrete,
talk about.
this is what we'd like to see happen and moving forward,
And
because I have
have
questions.
prior to that work
Mhm.
session that we would like answered and that you can bring.
And I have several
Good.
questions that I'm ready, like, that I need direction from the board as well to have, like, for instance, David execute and move forward on, and they're very complicated, like tread lightly, just code violations.
Just thought about my house.
I am not talking about your house. I am not talking about I'm talking about one on Main Street that is down there and.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think I'm still in favor of having these work sessions
Okay.
set up that way. Just so we have some deadlines that we can have our questions ready
Mhm.
for.
Mhm.
And that you could have
Okay.
answers for at those work sessions.
And
So
vice versa.
ignore the attendees then on
Okay.
those ones. except the coordination with federal and state, those people show up.
Yes,
But employees,
okay.
yeah. But I still think we need to have the work session on those. I think that, you know, for myself, it's a deadline thing. Okay, here's all the questions I have for Jessica. On January, whatever, we're gonna talk about the water infrastructure, and here's the questions that we have that you need to answer. Um, so yes, I'd still like to see those work sessions.
And if we need to bring in
Subjects.
like the, whatever, the director or something to, I don't know.
Well,
help.
if you have to ask them a question that we're asking,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I totally
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
okay.
With not having anybody there.
I'm not
But-
super excited about scheduling 2 years of work sessions out. I'd like to see us schedule out the end of this year and then regroup.
Well, I like to,
I,
I like to.
I would like
Just for the.
Yeah. I would also like to
Then have a
schedule
deadline.
the infrastructure around when maybe we're gonna start up construction, so that, you know, we are already kind of thinking in along the lines and understanding.
Benefit of new board members and whatnot, I think you should schedule ahead of that, so that they have an opportunity to know what's going on before you start construction. And at that point, it wouldn't be necessarily like the public works director, it would be element engineering,
Mhm.
it'd be, hey,
Okay,
Well, I'd like to discuss what the priorities are. You know, I think we need to really look at priorities and seeing what those are.
is that in the,
And I think that that's something that we
we
can
have that
discuss
list.
in a work session.
Mhm.
I mean, even if it's,
I don't,
Getting
I
updates.
know where you, yeah, I don't disagree. I think quite frankly, you know, a work session where everybody gets to talk about things and goals and everything else is what, I mean, it's 30-40% new board, so.
yeah, and I gotta learn it and wrap my head around what our facilities are and what our infrastructure is.
Okay.
And what our codes are and what our, you know, what we provide for public services with the parks and things like that, so.
I'm learning about code every single day. I don't go home and read it because, you know, I just don't want to. So,
Hard.
but I can also show you tips and tricks on like how I do read it, like when I have to go reference it and what like is easier to translate and define it instead of reading the whole thing. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, if you want
I
to.
just wanna be prepared.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's like a learning, a lunch learn, work session thing. But I do think a work session for all of us to be together so that we can work on the goals and strategies and roles. I'd like to see some more defined roles for the trustees and the mayor. And this is a new board, so I'd like to go over some other goals and strategies that maybe we think have priorities. Than the previous one. So, yeah, for me, for the coordination for Fed and state, definitely, we're gonna have to pre-schedule those guys ahead of time. I know they had previously agreed on quarterly meetings. I think maybe starting out twice a year, hearing from them would be good. So those, I think, definitely need to be scheduled at least a year in advance for them. But the others, it was just. We'd be able to announce to the town too, hey, we're gonna talk about these things in these months. Even if we only talk for 30 minutes, at least we. Have the opportunity to prepare, and the community has an opportunity to prepare. They've got questions or. We have a set date that we can discuss those things. But that was my thought on that, is. I need to learn. And I don't learn. Yeah.
To me, it all flows from the board goals and strategies. I mean, the learning part I get, but I mean, as a new board, I think we need to define where we're at with that. The goals and strategies.
Start out with that one.
I do, because I think that is going to align some of the other conversations that you're wanting to have. That's just my opinion. Any thoughts from anyone else?
Nope, I think that's accepted. I think that's, you got. Board members on the board, they may have new ideas and different ideas on goals and whatnot for the town, and that's just exactly what you need to talk about.
So that's the first one I think we should try to schedule. I didn't bring my phone for some reason, so I have no idea where it's at. It's at home somehow, I hope. But, August, I'm assuming, since
That was just.
this month's almost done,
I'm a
so.
here.
Yeah.
Next, the next meeting for the Board of Trustees is the 12th of August. And first day of school. You're welcome. And the next board meeting after that is the 26th. We will have a work session in between there, or a public meeting with the school board in between there. And also interviews, hopefully, with all stars aligning. And probably Gabe.
For the next round of the land use code.
So if you want a day in August, you better pick an arrow soon.
Is Gabe planning to come back on one of our other regular meetings like he did before the meeting?
I've requested that he do that as much as possible, and I think that'll be the one more meeting before we open up to public comment or a public hearing, and let the community feedback. So.
Do you guys have do you have a proposed date? I mean, I can't even tell you what I can do.
The 11th looks
Okay, if you
empty.
can bring my phone.
Like the calendar doesn't help get off.
On the 11th?
No, cause I got all.
If
the
you'll
other
send me
ones.
that, is
Okay,
it?
second.
Okay. Ditch. I'll put that in here then. Then the third Wednesday, but then we don't get a break from each other in that week. The 25th, the day before the 26th meeting.
When is
Is it
the
Tuesday?
school boards?
So their next meeting,
Thursday?
I've got it on,
Say the third Wednesday?
Wednesday, I've got it on third Tuesday, so it would be the 19th.
I don't know,
They're
I'm asking.
Tuesdays.
Are they
Okay,
Tuesdays? I'm
so
not
then-
thinking. I have no
okay.
clue. I'm just
So then
asking.
they would be the Tuesday after the ditch, like Tuesday, the 18th.
Okay.
And then that's the week of the break in between our scheduled meetings.
Why don't we do it before the August 12th meeting?
Okay. Okay. You wanna do like that Monday?
Day before meeting.
We can do it the day, well, I can.
Yeah, well, if Gabe's
Okay.
gonna be here.
I don't know Gabe's, but I can tell him that won't work.
You're saying that before our regular meeting, just do something else?
Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea
Okay.
too.
If everybody.
Yeah,
We only have one date to remember.
Yeah. So the 12th.
Is everybody else
Yeah.
okay with? I'll let you lead your own meeting.
No, I'm all right.
We could do a trustee work session prior to the regular meeting on the 12th of August.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the topic will be the board goals and strategies.
goals and strategies.
So if there's specific information, I would say get it to Jessica way in advance.
We'll get some thoughts organized. Yeah.
The information that I compiled in the shared folder, I think would be something to look at as well. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else on that? Okay. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I haven't been able to watch the Montrose County work session that was this week. Has anybody else been able to get it? Because I did have a call and there's some serious concern if Montrose County is going to have any community funding available for anybody next year. So I would encourage you guys, if you haven't looked at it, to listen to it. I'm gonna still keep trying. Every time I go on there, it's not showing on there yet. But I see a hand raised in there. And
They are going to put together a strategy because they have over 200 nonprofits in the county that request funding. And so they are going to put together a priority list of how to fund those ones. All of those, like, they can't do all of them, but they wanna figure out, if they're gonna go back the last 10 years and pool who they have already funded and how much. To be able to kind of compare that and then to like figure out a plan of how they want.
Did you get the impression that they are talking about cutting the towns of Nucla, Natarita, and Olathe funding?
We had heard that also, and they didn't
No comment.
confirm or deny anything, they just said. Really looking and.
And that's really a big concern. I mean, that's the only reason I bring it up. It's just so that the board's aware that this obviously is a conversation that's going on, but
That's
that-
why I went, is because we had heard that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they cut all of the nonprofit funding and then started doing this lump sum to the towns, expecting that we were gonna pick up, be able to, put that, and it's a fraction of what the ask had been previously. So anyway, I was gonna do a little more research on it, but I just wanted you guys all to be aware of it if you weren't, so that we
Really go about it and just deciding that we need to figure out.
Well, yeah, they said there wasn't a process, but there's been a process. There was a process before. The process seems like it's just gonna get it down to the nothing, so anyway, yeah. The Main Street businesses, we met last night. We didn't have as good of a turnout. I think that's on me because I got my calendar screwed up and had it the same night as the Mustang Water meeting, but our topics last night was really to brainstorm on the creation of a new welcome sign for Nucla. And so everybody gave some input on that. We had some examples to look at and everybody's really busy. Kind of put the finger on Josh and Britt to maybe help with some visual aids there so that, so that our group could actually see things and go, yeah, we like this or not. So we're not really looking to meet again until September and give everybody some time to maybe hopefully not be as busy, or maybe hopefully they are. The other thing we talked about was the directional signs that I talked to you guys about before that would, like when you come off of 141 up the power plant, some signs that say Nucla and some arrows. And I found an example of a green sign, white letters. They said, yeah, that's what they had in mind. So we talked about sizes. There was a couple different sizes, like an 18 by 12 and a 24 by 18. The group kind of thought that the 18 by 12 was big enough. They're gonna go on existing sign poles where the county already has road signs. So I thought maybe I'd run that by Bo Andrews just to see what his thoughts are, since he's more of an expert on signage than certainly I am. And with the board's approval, I think we'd like to try to order those. We've decided we need 4 signs. Ballpark on those is around $33 a sign. And that's definitely a ballpark because we haven't asked for an estimate yet from the sign company. Just wanted you guys' feedback on that and if we could proceed with maybe getting some signs ordered. And then get Montrose County to put them up for us and take down the Nucla loops.
Yes.
Well, the
Nucla-
state will do that when they do the other signage.
Will they
Yeah.
donate those to the historical society?
We're gonna be
The
giving
Nucla
more
loops.
house.
One of them's
The
missing.
shooting range.
The loops.
Yeah, let's put those at that museum. The loops.
The loops. Well, we could ask them if we can have them. Yeah.
One of them's been missing for a long time, the one down on the
Lemon.
power plant.
Yeah. So any thoughts on that? I mean, do you guys want us to see if we'll work up an estimate with the exact amount on it, and then Jessica can email that out to you guys, and
I think that's a good idea.
Those are directional.
Has to go through this sign company, or can we go through,
they have to have the appropriate reflective properties and everything, and the county give us 2 different companies that they use. And so I don't know the answer to your question there, but Britt was at the meeting last night and she didn't say that was something that she could do, so.
I was wondering if we
Yeah.
could keep
Yeah, no, it's,
some, yeah,
You guys do, you ever done road sign?
We order.
We've
St.
done
Louis.
reflective, there's a couple companies that do the industry standard
Mhm.
reflective material, but the price you just mentioned isn't too far above what we get like wholesale with those companies, so it doesn't sound like a bad
Yeah.
price that she mentioned, so.
and we'll get him to do an estimate, of, the exact sign and we'll have him do that. That was just what they had on their website,
So
so.
if you get the estimates and you'll put them in for us to look at, will that be something we could figure out before the next meeting, or as soon as we get them, or we'll have to?
If we
discuss
can
that
get
with
an
them?
estimate from the company that we can send out to you, we'll get it to you as soon as they send it to us.
Is that something we can, we would have to vote on it the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So.
And that's all I can remember from the other night. Josh and Miranda were there. Is anything really, any highlights there that I missed from the meeting last night? No, that was nicely what we talked about, so. Yeah. Does anybody have anything else to share or add? And if you don't, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Jason. All those in favor? Anyone opposed?